Hey everyone, I have some exciting news to share. I received the digital proof copy of We're Sinking in the mail this past week, and I cannot wait to share it with you. For those of you who don't know exactly what that means, basically this is the copy of the game that the manufacturer produces right before mass production. A few things that will be a little bit different is that some of the colors may be a little bit off. Some of the materials are not as they will be in the mass production, but the purpose of this is to basically lay out all the components and display it in what the final product will look like. So technically it's not the final game, but it's very close to it. And so I just wanted to share it with you guys. I've already looked inside and, assembled the punch boards and all that, so it's not a live unboxing, if you will. I may do something like that for the final game once we receive the final product. But for this, I just thought I'd share with you what this version of the game looks like and show you how everything kind of is put together in the box. So with that, I'll just get started. So for those of you who backed the all-in or did the add-on for the box sleeve, this is the box sleeve. Nice sleek design on both sides that you can use to display your game. You can choose which side you like, and it's also going to keep your game nice and snug. If you display your games vertically like I do, of the box creep that sometimes happens where the box kind of starts to separate and the components kind of fall inside. The box sleeves kind of help with that. So yeah. So with this, you're just going to lift this up, and this is the actual game, the actual base retail version of the game. So there's the back. I'm really happy with the way that this came out. It's got a nice linen texture to it, and also has, probably hard to capture on the camera, but it has a spot UV shine on the logo. Basically that just means that in certain lights you can see the logo shimmer off the rest of the matte finish, which is just a nice little touch that we were able to add from the Kickstarter campaign because we hit a stretch goal, which is pretty awesome. So let's just dive right in. All right, let's open this up. And okay, so first thing you would see when you open this up is the punch boards. And as you can see, I've already assembled them. I've already punched them out and assembled the dials and put the tokens away. But one thing to note, I'll go ahead and mention, I did have some extra space, and so I used that space to give you some instructions on how to construct the dials, which I think worked out pretty well, as well as a little caution thing here. Not a caution, but just a, hey, just so you're aware, you can put these punch boards underneath the insert to make sure that you maintain the same amount of space to keep all your components snug. Okay, the next thing is the rule book that you're going to see here. It's a nice, thick 20-page rule book with a table of contents, prologue, overview, components, setup, and then how to play. So I'm really happy with the way this turned out. All right, next, moving on, the next thing you're gonna see is the game board. So the game board fits really nice inside the insert, right on top of the insert, and it fits really nice and snug. It's got these notches that hold it in place. And yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. So there is that. Okay. Next up, let's do the dice tray. Let's do the dice tray first. So this tray just sits on top of the insert. It's got this nice raised logo over top of it. And inside of here, it's going to hold a few things. It's going to hold the sails for the ship, which we'll get to in a bit. It's going to hold all of your large cards, your thresholds for your water that you will choose at the beginning of the game, depending on your player count. It's also going to hold your characters, so all 6 playable characters, and it's going to hold your enemies, the Skull Sayers, the Sirens, the Sharks, and the Kraken. All of those are going to be right there. And then underneath that is going to be the dice are going to be housed. And as you can tell, there's quite a bit of extra space as well for expansion content. I definitely have some ideas in plan to add extra enemies to the game. And so I can't wait to fully deck out this insert with more dice and tokens and things. All right. So below that is where we keep the tokens. We have the first mate token, which is this full scroll that you will use round around to keep track of what you're doing. You have the permanent breaches, which fit right in here. The damage tracker for the enemy. And we have the 10 treasure chests that go inside the ship. So at the beginning of each game, you're going to shuffle these up and choose 8 of them to go inside the ship. So there's always going to be some of them that are left out of the game. Okay. Then you have your dials. So let's talk about these dials because these are probably one of my favorite elements of the game. I'm really happy with the way these came out. The texture of the linen finish on these are really nice. They're nice and tight. You know, sometimes in games you have dials that are kind of really loose, and you know you may put it on a certain face and then place it down, only to see that it moved by the time you flipped it back over. So I'm really happy with the way these turned out, especially the center fasteners. It apparently is really hard to get a print screen icon on something like that, but I'm really happy with how the manufacturer did it. All right, so moving on to the ship. Let's just get to the ship. I know everyone wants to take a look at that. So the ship is housed in this compartment right here, all 4 sections of the hull. And yeah, the final ship has a bit of heft to it, but I'm really happy with the color and the detail that is in this ship. I can't wait to see how people, you know, professionally paint this ship. It's going to be really great to see. And then over in this section, you're going to find the masts that will go onto the ship. Before we do that, I'm going to take the sails out and place those on the masts. So, about the sails are the original sails were just in my prototype were cardstock. And the final product is going to be a really nice plastic material that can really withstand the test of time. Like it's not going to be ripping or anything like that. And it assembles that easily. You just notch it into the slots of the masts, just like that, and then the bottom. Bam. Okay. And there is your, there's your assembled ship right there. Place that down. All right, and then last but not least, we can talk about the cards. So all the cards are going to be housed right here, and they're not going to come assembled like this, but don't worry, we do have these icons here which will help you assemble the cards, as well as the side of the box that also is going to be a helpful indicator of where things go. So if the icons aren't enough, we do kind of spell it out for you right here. So the Clearwater cards, the 30 Clearwater cards that come in the game, are all going to be housed to the left here. The treasure cards that are made up of the basic items and the gems are going to be all right here. Then you have the enemy items and some of their special enemy, some of the enemies have some special abilities and mechanics, and so they have some special cards that will also be placed in here. Okay, then you have the breaches that span from minor breaches all the way to monster breaches. All right, then you have your cannons. You got your single shot cannons, your double shots, and your triple shots. And on the back side are all of the busted cannons. And in the last compartment here, you're going to have your starting items for each character. Each character is going to have, a starting item. And you're also going to store your player aids here as well. So each player aid basically gives you the 2 winning conditions, how to win the game, which is a nice reminder, especially for new players. And then the back side of that is going to give you a legend of all of the, the reoccurring icons in the game. And there's 6 of these for each player. All right. So that's that. That is, oh, and yes, some of you have asked, and these dividers will be compatible with sleeves as well. Okay. Oh, one last thing. So I mentioned the diagram here for the cards on this side, and on the opposite side, I also incorporated everyone from one of the previous updates that I did. I had asked folks if I should include a box insert diagram so everyone knows how to put the game back together, or disassemble the game and put it back away. So yeah, I did just that. I added a diagram to this side of the box, which I hope is going to be a easy identifier for each of the components and where they fit in the box. All right, so the next thing I figured we could take a look at is the expansion pack that was also available during the Kickstarter. So this is actually a prototype copy of the box that I just happen to have, but it's very close to the final product. It's just a pretty simple tuck box design, and that is mainly because all the components here are just going to go right into the base box. So let's open this up and take a look. We have the overview, this gives you a little bit of a prologue, a little bit of the story, right? So you've defeated the enemies in the base game, and you're continuing your sea voyage, and now you're coming across two new enemies. You know, the Navy and the Ghosts. So here are the two additional enemies that come in this pack. The Ghosts are actually one of my favorite. They have some really interesting mechanics with haunting players and candles that you can try to light to do a ritual to get rid of them. And then the Navy is going to be targeting your different action columns, depending on which column was the most packed and most popular from a previous round, and they're going to be dealing massive hits to those columns with their dice rolls. So, two dangerous adversaries. They are also going to be coming with some new items. We have the Decoy King and the White Flag for the Navy. Then there's also a reference guide for the different attacks that you can use in the game. The Ghosts have a book of rituals and a spirit charm, and a bunch of cards for the haunts that they can do in the game. So that's there. All right, and then last but not least, you have the dice and the tokens, which, again, I already punched these tokens out. They did come in their own punch board before, but these are double-sided tokens where you can light the candles. They start unlit, and then you can light the candles to hopefully start the ritual. Yeah, then you have the dice for the Ghosts and the Navy. Overall, I'm really happy with the dice for all the enemies and the cannons, and I'm really happy that we were able to get to enlarge the dice and get them engraved. I think they look phenomenal. But yeah, so that's it for this. I just wanted to give you a quick glance. I hope it wasn't too long. But I can't wait to get this game to you all, and thank you again for following along and backing. Couldn't have done it without you all. So until next time, have a good one.